guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video I want to cover off the importance of basic protection insurance. What I mean by basic insurance is your life insurance and your critical illness cover. So I won't go into any other protection that you can get, as I will cover that off in a separate video. In this one I just want to purely concentrate on life insurance and critical illness cover and why they're so important, especially now. So let's start with explaining what life insurance and critical illness insurance actually are. So life insurance tends to pay out a lump sum that you're insured for to whoever you've got as a beneficiary of your insurance policy. So that can be your dependents, such as your kids, or it could be your parents, your spouse, your partner. As I say, whoever you've chosen to be the beneficiary of your life policy. Now, with a life policy, it is only paid out on death. An important thing to know is that with a life insurance policy, it is not an investment, therefore you only get the money paid out in the event of death. Now, with a critical illness policy, things are slightly different, and the way the money is paid out actually differs depending on the provider that you're with. Normally, what happens is you're insured for a certain amount, and upon either diagnosis or treatment for a certain serious condition, such as a heart attack or a stroke, you actually end up getting a sum of money paid out to you as a lump sum. Now, with critical illness cover, there are two main things to remember, especially when you are looking to take one out. Now, the first one is to go for the most comprehensive cover there is. Now, after speaking to various providers, what I've actually realised is that certain providers only cover you for kind of 70 to 80 different illnesses, whereas there's providers out there that will cover you to up to like 182. Like, it's absolutely crazy. That's why it's so important to speak to a protection advisor who's able to compare all the different options for you and go with the most comprehensive one. And I will explain later on in the video as to why that is so important. Now, the advisor that I work alongside with is also a qualified protection advisor, so we do carry out a lot of research for our clients in order to find them the best deal. And we also talk to a lot of people about protection insurance, and we are often faced with a lot of objections, and I just want to cover some of them off in this video to kind of make it come to life, I suppose, and to hopefully answer any questions that you may have. But ultimately, it is important for you to talk to a professional, as they'll be able to find you the right cover for you, for your needs. So the first objection we normally come across is people telling us that they don't have any dependents, so why would they need life insurance? Now, our answer to this is always the fact that, for one, you may not have dependents now, but you may wish to have them in the future. And when I say dependents, I just mean kids. As I say, you may not have them now, but you may consider having them in the future. Now, the important thing here is the fact that the earlier you purchase your protection policy, the cheaper it will be. And now, the way that protection policies are priced is the critical illness part of the policy is actually the expensive part. The life insurance is normally a few quid that people just normally add as a bit of an add-on onto the critical illness policy, just because you are way more likely to get paid out on a critical illness policy than you are on the life insurance policy. Now, another objection we are often faced with is premiums are so expensive. Why should I pay for premiums if I'm most likely not going to get anything for them? I mean, that's understandable. I totally get why people say that. But having done a lot of research recently and having looked into the various different options, I can honestly say life insurance is probably cheaper than you actually think. Now, obviously, the best thing to do is to compare various providers to see what they're actually offering, as there are providers now who will actually provide you with further benefits to actually make sure you lead a healthy lifestyle, which is so important nowadays. And as I mentioned before, you are way more likely to claim on a critical illness policy than a life insurance policy, as ultimately you can become seriously ill at any age. Now, when people come to me and tell me that life insurance is expensive, critical illness cover is expensive, I know for a fine fact they've not done the research. And the reason that I know this is because I personally do have critical illness cover and life insurance, and I can tell you that it costs less than a Starbucks a week, and that's my monthly premium for my life and critical illness cover. So in the event that I become seriously ill, I've got my mortgage paid off and I don't have to worry about that. But as I say, it's definitely worth comparing the different products, and ultimately you want to get the cover that's most suited to your circumstances. So everything will vary. My insurance quote will be different to your insurance quote because you may want to be insured for a different amount, you may have dependents, you may be a smoker or a non-smoker. Obviously that affects your premiums, and there's a lot of other factors that we need to take into consideration. Hence why it's always so important to speak to a protection advisor, as they will be able to compare all the various options for you and tell you which one they believe would be the most suitable one. Especially if you have a budget in mind, they can work towards that and get you the most cover for your budget. So what's the best time to actually purchase protection insurance? Now, my answer to this question is always as soon as you possibly can. And the reason I say that is because the longer you wait, the higher your premiums will be, and that is a fact. Now, as I said before, at the end of the day, there is no age limit on becoming either seriously ill or dying. When people tell me they're too young to have life insurance or critical illness cover, I just simply ask them to have a think about either their own friendship group or, the family, someone they may know, either their age or around the same age, who either has recently passed away or has been diagnosed with a serious illness. And 9 times out of 10, somebody will know of somebody. And unfortunately, that is the awful reality, is the fact that you're never too young to get ill, you're never too young to die. And I know this is a very heavy subject, so we'll try and come on to the benefits of it. I would always say for critical illness cover, get the cover as soon as you can, because the chances now, with obviously the healthcare system being so much better than it used to be, the chances are that even if you are diagnosed with a serious condition, you're unlikely to die from it. However, your policy is still pretty much like to get paid out, obviously depending on the provider that you're with. So in effect, what happens is you're hopefully still well enough and fit enough to work, but you then get a tax-free lump sum of money that you can do whatever you want with. Now, for life insurance, as I say, most people just get it as an add-on onto critical illness cover, just because it normally costs a few quid on top of your critical illness cover. So it's kind of a no-brainer. But normally with life insurance, I'd normally say either when you purchase a house and you've got a mortgage to pay off, or when you have kids and obviously you're wanting to either make sure they don't have any debt to pay off once you die, or you just want some money to help look after them should obviously the worst happen. But ultimately, the short answer is there is no age limit, and the earlier the better. Now, another commonly asked question is, well, what happens if I can't pay my premiums? What happens if I lose my job and I just can't afford to pay the premiums? Now, every time myself and Ian, the advisor, look for a product for our clients, we always ensure that they have a waiver of premium protection included. Now, it's literally pennies. I think mine ended up costing my policy like 23 pence more a month, but it's so important, because if you've got waiver of premium protection, if you're unable to work or if you're unable to pay your premiums for, some time due to unforeseen circumstances, you're able to continue your cover but not have to pay the premiums. Now, there's obviously terms and conditions to that, so that you cannot take advantage of it if you don't need to. So obviously we need to protect the insurers as well, but ultimately the option is there should you need it. Now, another scenario I'm always faced with is people my age saying, what's the likelihood of me making a claim? And I'll tell you now, probably quite high, unfortunately. Obviously it does depend on factors such as what type of lifestyle you lead, but ultimately things aren't looking good. And in order to give you some statistics behind it, I've actually obtained some statistics from L&G from the 2019 claims report, and I quote, average age of critical illness cover claimants insurance was 48 years old. Let's say you're 25 and you take out, I don't know, a 30-year term life insurance policy, obviously with critical illness protection as well. 30 years, that'll take you to what, 55, and with the average claimant being 48 years old, you most likely will fall into that bracket. And remember, now that's an average, and we all know how averages are calculated. You need to have people younger and you need to have people older in order to come to that average, and 48 is really, really young. Personally, I think that's really young, and I think that just kind of shows you the importance of having critical illness cover, because as I say, you are way more likely to claim on that than you are on your life insurance. And just to obviously caveat that, with life insurance, the average age of a claimant was 67 according to L&G claims report from 2019, and that's also the reason why critical illness cover premiums are actually a lot higher than your life insurance, and why life insurance is almost an add-on onto a critical illness policy. So what happens at the end of your policy? So let's say you've taken out a 30-year policy and it comes to 30 years, you're healthy, you haven't got any health issues, so, you know, you haven't claimed. If that's the case, your policy will simply just lapse with majority of providers. There are some providers out there that offer various different add-ons that you can put onto your policy to in effect extend it. That's something you should definitely consult your protection advisor about, as they'll be able to tell you a bit more about that. Now, if you want to find out a bit more about that, just drop me an email. I'll pop it down in the description box below, and I can have some initial research for you, and I can also tell you a bit more about the various providers. So yeah, if you don't make a claim throughout a term, it basically just lapses like it does with your car insurance, as insurance is there to protect you against the risk of an event happening. So in this case, it protects you against the risk of either a serious health condition happening or the risk of death. What if you need to increase the amount you're insured for? The good thing is a lot of providers now actually allow you to do that throughout the term. They allow you to make various amendments. Obviously, your premium is likely to go up if you need to be insured for a higher amount, which is understandable. However, you are able to make those changes. So how do you go about getting a policy? As I've been mentioning throughout the video, please contact a protection advisor. A lot of your mortgage advisors will also be qualified protection advisors, so have a chat with them, as they'll be able to compare the market for you and pick the most suitable cover for your needs. They'll also be able to explain to you what the different providers, how they vary, what cover they provide. Now, there's so many different ones out there nowadays that it's a bit of a minefield if you don't have the insider knowledge. Now, personally, I speak to providers on a regular basis to keep updated with their product range and to be able to provide our clients with the best research possible to ensure the product that we end up providing them with is the right one for their needs. And as I mentioned before, there's insurers out there that will provide you benefits for staying active, for keeping fit and healthy, which is just amazing, and it shows you that the insurance market is going in the right direction. And as I mentioned before, if you want me to have a look at your protection needs, do get in touch with me via email and I'll be more than happy to have a look into it for you. I honestly cannot stress the importance of having basic essential protection insurance in place, because it has helped so many people already. And as I said, the sooner you get it, the cheaper it will be. So with that said, this is it for today's video. I hope you found it useful and I've given you something to think about. As I said, you should definitely consult a protection advisor to make sure you get the right deal, as that will definitely benefit you further down the line. If you like this video, please give it a like and also subscribe to my channel down below. If you have any further questions, please pop them in the comment section down below or drop me an email and I'll be more than happy to answer those. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys back on Monday with another video. Bye guys!